Welcome back, your 2024 Mid-Atlantic Major, third stop on the tour this year. Manny Marshall, blessed to have Ryan Gray, Coach AC Diesel, up here to help me call this set. It's going to be Houston Heat taking on the MLKings and Dynasty and New York Xtreme. Must-win situation for all of these squads here, Ryan. Houston Heat went 1-1 yesterday. MLKings won today to keep themselves in this tournament. They're 1-2. Dynasty dropped a game yesterday to Impact, and then New York Xtreme is sitting at 1-2 as well. So this should be an interesting set. About to jump into point number one. It's going to be Houston Heat and the MLKings. Houston Heat starting from the red side and the MLKings from the blue side on the breakout. Houston Heat might have bounced the player at the can for the MLKings, but he's good to go. And we got a good old classic, old-fashioned 5-on-5 break here, Ryan.
Getting more and more frequent.
Yes.
The 5-on-5 breakout as everybody's kind of learning the space they can sort of get out in.
Yeah.
Although the match before it looked like there were just tons of points where two guys were getting shot off the break.
Some matches are a little bit more crazy off the break than others, but I do agree that survivability at the beginning of the points have increased. Also in this brick too, we're seeing a lot of guys get there and not just run around and try to clean it out right away. Often we'll have both teams with a body in there, both looking inside, and just not wanting to waste their body given the situation. If you shoot two on the break and there's a guy right in front of you, that guy's got to die because then it's going to send you into a 4-on-2.
Yeah, so I kind of made that comment yesterday when I was up here in the morning that I think this is how the tournament is gonna sort of matriculate into, is less guys going up here to trade bodies and just putting yourself in a 4-on-4 right off the bat. I'm not right all the time, but sometimes I am, and it looked like I got that one right.
Yeah, you called it on that one.
Yeah, it's weird, too. Not weird. It's wonderful that we have the kind of parity in the league name now where you're saying things like Houston Heat and San Diego Dynasty, both 1-1. So that's not happened a lot over the last few years. So, man, the league is good.
It's just it's a blessing. It's good to see. Been doing this a long time, and this is probably the best parity we've ever had. So jumping into that middle, looks like the MLKings going to try to go on the attack with Carter Donaldson, and he ends up getting taken out of there. The tough thing is that it's tough to live in that spot if you have an opponent in that 50 brick, and Tyler Harmon's been there since the beginning, all the way, and then looks like Houston Heat, two bodies out wide, so they got out of that the center pocket at least, and now they're going to move up with Ryan Moorhead. He's going to go, feel no pressure, goes right into D3.
Yeah, Houston Heat, just all tempo here, and it looks like MLKings just satisfied with kind of playing the back and waiting. I don't know if that's a good strategy on this field.
Yeah, I agree. If you're up 3 points, I've seen that work out a few times, but if you're not, then that is not the move. And Tyler Harmon feasting over here on the snake side, and Ryan Moorhead cut to the middle of the field. Dizon behind him, and a couple gunfight wins. Made this one pretty easy here for Houston Heat. They're going to go up 1-0 against the MLKings.
Yeah, Fedorov shot Ryan Moorhead like 4 times in the back. Ryan turns around like, come on, pal.
We've definitely seen a few team kills out here.
Yeah, and just so you know, there's only one way to shoot 6 guys.
Well, we always get some team kills. It's just at what frequency do they present themselves? And hasn't been crazy out here with the team kills. Not the worst tournament, but I think the blind layout might be part of that. Let's listen in real quick.
And then the can was shooting bounce shots into the. Hey, if that can shoots the bounce shot back into that crack. Hey, Tyler needs a little bit more communication. Tyler needs more confidence. Yeah. We got it going. That Houston guy was the center guy. So then it was just the 4. Yeah, who shot the center guy? Going wide.
So on the breakout right now, New York Xtreme and San Diego Dynasty.
New York Xtreme dropped one off the break.
Yeah, it's going to be Josh Taylor taking the early walk. So Dynasty going to be in a 5-on-4 situation. Survivability, a little bit of an issue for Dynasty yesterday. But even though they went 1-1, they had a 2-point win and a 1-point loss. So still sitting in that positive area for the point differential with 2 more games to go today. Brutal bracket, though. Dynasty, Ironman, Impact, Infamous, and New York Xtreme in bracket D. New York Xtreme is going to get a body here to the 50 brick. And then Thomas Taylor's going to get into the wedge to help him out. San Diego Dynasty already has Chris Shear all the way up into D3, though. So great position for Chris. He's won MVP award for Dynasty, crushing people on the D side. Very high survivability for Chris Shear. He's a really hard guy to shoot out.
Nice to see Danny getting a spin here. This is the setup also I was kind of talking about yesterday with the guy at the wedge there behind the 50 snake, and then the outside snake, a guy being in snake 2. Just because they can kind of protect each other a little bit. Easy for them to cross up. And you don't potentially have to waste a body to go get the guy out of the 50, which I don't know who that was in the wedge there, but they've now released into the middle of the field to go try to find some space to shoot the guy out of the brick here.
Yeah, sometimes the trade's great, but other times it doesn't really help you out much.
And he does. He finds it. Is that Arturo there in the middle?
Yeah. Yeah, Arturo had some really good points yesterday for San Diego Dynasty, and he's hunting again in the middle. Middle's a great closing position. We've seen probably a half a dozen different moves to close big points from the middle of the field with 3-pack run-throughs.
Yeah,
And,
Clint Johnson had one yesterday out of the middle. I saw Colt had one.
Jerry Caro.
Jerry Caro had one.
Yeah, it's there. It's just the middle is so treacherous in the middle part of the point. If there's still a high body count out there, so if it's still 5-on-5 or 4-on-4, middle's kind of rough. But once that pressure starts to go outside, you can definitely finish through that middle of the field.
Colts was in a 5-on-5 against Paintball Fit. I was like, man,
but made it even more
crafty.
Yeah. Yeah, Colt's in the running. So Pate Smith Law giving $500 out for move of the prelims. He's a law firm that specializes in working with clients, trying to get money out of their insurance companies for property claims, so doing God's work. Yeah, Colts is probably the leader right now, I think. So body dropping early here for Houston Heat's going to be Dizon trying to get to that cam, but they are able to shoot out a body.
Yeah, MLKings got a minor. Kyle Berry gets a minor, and they shoot the guy out of the corner.
So just 2 bodies left alive right now for the MLKings. Houston Heat just needs to, anytime you see bodies drop that quick, hopefully someone on Houston Heat counted those kills so you get that code called properly. Tyler's going to dive into the snake 1. As Fedorov eyes up and over that Aztec, trying to help out Ryan Moorhead on that D side. Ryan's already up into that 50-yard line.
I believe it's 4-on-1.
Yeah, it's not looking good for the MLKings. It is 4-on-1 here in the Sky Telestration. Yeah, so just, again, with the deaths coming off so quick, Heat might be off a body or 2. And since they need to win, they're going to be extra careful.
That's what I was going to say, too. When you're in a situation where you need a win, you shoot several guys, like, in succession like that. Take a breath, get your kill count right, make sure you know where they are, don't go anywhere.
Well, you've been preaching this to your guys, and at some point here, want to pick your brain about where Diesel's mindset's at, but every time we talk to you about it, you keep trying to preach that to your guys. Slow. We'll cut to the pit sometimes, and you'll be kind of giving
Take a breath.
Yeah. Hey, guys, take a breath. Did you not count those bodies coming off? They're walking right past you. Someone's got to be able to see it.
It was so bad yesterday being in that kind of deja vu situation with Revo, where we're in a good 2-on-2, have an opportunity to tie the game. Clint Johnson tries to put it together with Cody Mikowski, and they just didn't wait long enough to check in, make sure they knew where the bodies were, and then go close the game together. Clint kind of tried to do it on its own. So,
jumping into point number 2 here, Dynasty up by 1, and Dynasty off the break shots lasered in. They get another one here, keep 5 bodies alive. And right back into that 50-yard line here with Harrison Fry. Yeah, so a bunch of different bodies filtering in from Dynasty. We've had, SK getting his guys some reps. Harrison's been looking pretty good in some spins for him. They also get Danny reps. Arturo's played awesome as well, too.
Other than Malloy, I thought Harrison played that spot better than anybody else, just from he was just really active. Inside, outside, he's over the top. It doesn't hurt that he's like 6'2".
Yeah, it helps if you can play over the top of those bricks. And you need to be about 6 foot, 6'1" to play over the top of those bricks without having to get all the way up on your tippy toes. Maybe 5'11" could do it, but right now New York Xtreme in another tough situation. Just losing too many bodies on the break to be competitive out here, making too many mistakes. I see 5-on-2.
Yeah, and they really only lost 1 guy off the break, and then lost 2 guys out of spots. Yeah.
Well, I don't know how many New York Xtreme games that you've watched now, Ryan, but they finally got their core roster back and healthy, and haven't really even been able to practice with some of those guys because of their injuries. And then coming into a blind layout, so not being able to practice with your core guys, having to play a blind layout, trying to figure out who your go-to guys are going to be, and they've just made too many mistakes out here. They did have a great game yesterday to keep themselves in this tournament against the Ironman with a 4-1 victory to go 1-1 today, but then lost to Infamous by 3. So for them to stay in this tournament, they need to beat Dynasty by 3 or 4.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going to bring up, too, because I've watched all their games.
Okay.
And the first one, they kind of looked in disarray, a little bit messy. The second one, though, it wasn't just the way they looked. They sounded like NYX.
Yes.
And then this morning I watched and kind of went back and looked like they looked the first game yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, looks like MLKings going to be losing the body out wide here on the Snake side, trying to spread the field early. Houston Heat able to do just that, though, as they have a body in D1 and back corner bunker on the Snake side. And then they also have Tyler Harmon, who's been playing a little bit more offense. So past couple seasons, Tyler's been more the 2, but it looks like they're running him as the 1 a little bit more now. Another body coming off for the MLKings from that D side this time. So it's a 3-on-5 situation in favor of Houston Heat.
Yeah, and I think that's why they have Tyler there, is because he can play over the top of the break.
Yeah, Tyler's, what, 6'3"-ish?
Probably.
So it's just such a, being taller makes you a bigger target. But, man, if you're over 6 foot, there are angles that you can shoot that other people that are shorter just cannot shoot.
And Tyler can play
and
so
bunkers
small.
You can play, yeah.
Yeah, he can play small.
Yeah, he folds up like a folding chair when he needs to.
Yeah, he does. I just wish he had a better first shot,
Yeah, Ryan, if his snapshot was just a little more dialed,
Yeah.
he'd probably be an all-star now. I'm just kidding. He's one of those guys you just don't gunfight more than once if you have to.
You get one.
Yeah.
He's a little bit like, the Malloy and Axel's a little bit that way. You get one.
So now Tyler Harmon past the 50-yard line. He's going to get a free crossfield kill. He had no idea he's there, and then going to get a concession as he's about to run down and stitch up that last player. It's been all Houston Heat.
Yeah, Houston Heat looks great.
Yeah, they look good.
Very dialed.
Then they did drop a game yesterday to Damage, but they're playing like they need wins right now. They're looking like the Houston Heat we've seen win multiple tournaments since they came into existence in 2012.
Yeah, and that was a perfect point, right? Like, got out, shot a guy off the break, went to the key spots, communicated, didn't, get into stupid gunfights, but won a couple of quick gunfights.
It's, having watched so much paintball over the years, and you probably feel the same way, but you really can see it in the body language, the confidence. It's intense, but it's fluid.
Comfortable.
Comfortable.
Yeah, you look at them and they just look like, just another game.
They know the angles, they know the shots, they're not frantic, they know the count for the most part. And so Dynasty up by 2 here on Xtreme, but see if Xtreme can actually live through the break this time, and they can't. So they're going to lose another body here, so it's a 4-on-5 situation. And not going well here for Xtreme. And a great crossfield spread here for Dynasty, as they already have that body up in the inside wedge on the D side. D1's hot, inside wedge in the V, and then Snake 2. So just about perfect here for Dynasty so far through a couple, Ryan.
Yeah, Danny getting another spin out here. And again, I love this setup. You don't have to worry as much about the guy in the 50 brick on the Snake side. And then also with where they are in the Dorito wedge, if somebody does go up into that 50 brick, he's going to shoot him in the head right away.
Yeah, Danny Schonauer in Snake 2, going to have to squeegee his barrel. CJ Cantor mirrored up that move. He's on the right-hand side of your screen for New York Xtreme, and has got a body right beside him inside of that wedge. Wedge looking towards Danny. Arturo is off of the wedge, also mirrored up. So it's perfectly mirrored up here on the Snake side, but Arturo's really trying to get an angle across to that D side, where Xtreme has 2 bodies in D1 and D2.
Yeah, is that Ryan out here helping out?
In the backfield?
Yeah.
Greenspan.
Yeah.
Arturo, I think, did Arturo just crawl inside?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Arturo's
yeah.
now at the 50 Snake brick.
So, yeah, just perfect crossfield spread here for Dynasty to help protect this lead. Dynasty's last game going to be against the Ironmen, who've had a real rough go of it, but now they got nothing to lose. So could see a little different look from the Ironmen now that the pressure's off in their second game. So Dynasty going to want to put up as many points as they can in this match.
Yeah, and I'm hoping New York Xtreme kind of figures it out, turns it around. It'd be nice to have a good one here. Because New York Xtreme is good.
They were
You just got to put it
They were
together.
a top 4 team for a while last season.
For sure.
And the only body they lost after picking up Tom, so they picked up Thomas Taylor. And thought they were going to have Corey Hall, but then Aftershock came into existence, so Corey wanted to go back and play with the same boys he won the 2020 Vegas Major.
Well, then Timmy, right? Timmy Stetzel goes to X Factor.
True, but he was kind of in and out for a while. You
Yeah, I know he was a bench, kind of a bench guy.
Yeah. Yeah, they were definitely excited about him a couple seasons ago, but he broke his shoulder falling at work, and then had to get his work stuff figured out. So not like a core guy for them.
Right.
But
Playing
yes,
well for X Factor.
Yeah, but to your point, yes, Xtreme just I think they're going to be, once they get everyone really healthy and they have some time to practice, I think they're going to look a lot better towards the end of the season. It's just been another little bit of a struggle other than the game 2 for him here in the prelims. A little bit of a longer point here, Ryan.
Yeah, Dynasty knows we don't have to do anything. Up a couple of bodies, relax, communicate. Yeah, so like yesterday afternoon, it was so funny when I was up here in the morning and we were talking about the games going like 10 points. Mm-hmm. And then I stuck around and watched that X Factor aftermath
game.
Yeah, and I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing while I was calling it. I'm like 1-1 going. Oh, look at this move here for Blake Yarber as he cuts through the zone in the middle. He dices up Thomas Taylor. This is a little 3-pack run through here for Blake Yarber. That's on the list of moving the prelims to finish things off. Perfectly ran route right there.
Bully.
Traded out with the body. Blake is definitely one of the bullies for Dynasty. And he's a former MVP award winner as well, too, by just smashing people in the middle of the field.
I mean, he's probably got a knife on him right now.
He's one of those guys, like the nicest guy off the field and just an absolute savage on the field.
He's the player you want.
Yeah.
Great human being away from the field. As soon as you get him inside the net, he wants to kill you.
Well, that's what inside the nets is for, right?
For sure. You know, like sometimes you get those guys who are, they're super sweet off the field, and then you watch them go on the field and they'll shoot a guy one time, and it's like, hey man, you got to be a little more. One's not enough, right?
Well, Blake's also great too because he's he's done some crazy backpacking adventures. He once hiked the length of Hadrian's Wall in northern England, living off like berries and Cliff Bars for like 2 weeks.
New York
foraging for food.
MLKings losing 2 off the break here. The Houston Heat's guns are just dialed.
Yeah, Houston Heat looks like Houston Heat right now. 5 alive all across the backfield for Houston Heat, and a 5-on-3. MLKings just struggling. Federoff's going to move up into the wedge. Tyler Harmon in Snake 1.
Federoff's playing all over.
Yeah, Federoff's been all over the place. Been on the D side, been in the middle, Snake side. Tyler Harmon just definitely committed to the Snake side for the most part. Also wondering with Heat is, as we get deep in this tournament, is who's going to be their go-to starting 5, because they've been getting everyone spins.
Yeah.
New pickup for them, Ryan Dart. Connor Kelly's not here. Congratulations to the Keller family. Brand new daughter. So Connor's staying home with the fam. So they picked up Ryan Darte, and he's been getting spins too. Another kill here for Houston Heat. Yeah, they're just on cruise control right now.
Was Rodarte not? He wasn't with another team, was he?
No, he was quasi-retired.
Right.
And I talked to Pat McKenna, assistant coach, as now looks like a little bit of a battle going down here as Kyle Berry's going to send it. But that is going to force a concession from the MLKings with 8:40 to go. 4 points in a row for Houston Heat. So yeah, I talked to Pat McKenna. I was like, no Connor Kelly. Your thoughts on that? We talked a little bit about that. He's like, yeah, of course, he's had a kid. Yeah, it's, obviously Connor's been getting better and better and better. Would have loved to have him, but totally understand. He's like, but we picked up Ryan Rodarte. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I was like, how'd you guys go about that? And he's like, well, we kind of just looked at who had played in the league before, who we kind of maybe would wanted. We made a list and started calling around. And Ryan was like, yeah, I'm definitely all about it. Let's do it.
It's always funny when guys retire because you start the return clock.
Totally.
I think I've retired twice.
Well, it's like we've got MLKings out here playing, and Peterson from MLKings that came up World Cup a couple years ago. He's like, Maddie, thank you so much for everything you do. I really appreciate it, man. Good to be friends, and this is my last tournament ever. And I'm like, yeah, we'll see about that.
Right.
Sure,
Josh Taylor
sure
dying.
enough, and he's back.
Yeah, Josh Taylor dying again off the break. Josh having some survivability issues off the break.
Yeah, just in general for New York Xtreme. Just can't seem to keep 5 bodies alive for the bulk of these points. So San Diego Dynasty, also just like Houston Heat, on cruise control right now. Blake's going to run up and get out of that back center. They do lose a body. It was going to be a minor penalty. And was that on
Blake?
No, well, I think, well, Blake got pulled out, but I think the penalty was on Archie. So opportunity here to stay in this match for Xtreme. I mean, there's still a little under 8 to go, and there, oh, another penalty, and it's going to be on Dynasty again. Wow.
Yeah.
2 penalties. Okay, so a small chink in the armor here for Dynasty.
I think Alex was John a little bit on his way off and got a minor penalty there.
Hey, who do you need one from? Grayson, come here. Who do you need it from?
Yeah, so the head referee is actually asking, who do you need it from? So there's still 1 body left alive for New York Xtreme after the penalty chaos. It looked like when they went and pulled one of the Xtreme players out, but I don't know if that was from, oh, it's, no, so it was Marcelo Margot or Chris Shear?
Yeah, it's Chris.
Chris Shear, yeah, Chris Shear staying alive in the madness. Yeah, I thought that was 2 penalties on Dynasty, but they went and pulled one of the bodies from Xtreme.
Yeah, and I kind of heard A-House screaming there like,
Let's listen in real quick, because there's Jason.
The back center guy had to hit on his loader. Alex pointed that out.
If they've already signaled him out and he's pointing at people, then I get nothing.
Well, I thought
They had to pull him out.
Once it, once,
no.
once it,
So, but what we talked, so all the time, it's, hey, you call us, why we stop the clock is a minor.
So Yosh Rao has a knee injury, he's not playing, not suited up, and having a conversation with Eric Crandall, longtime manager of Dynasty, with our commissioner.
by
There's Bo Milo, owner of New York Xtreme, over as well too, trying to figure out what just happened. Yeah, so might be a potential review.
yeah, he's definitely reviewing it.
Yeah, he immediately walked back to the booth.
And I appreciate that. I want him to get it right. You know, we had a couple situations yesterday that were not handled well when the call was made. And it's so hard on the referees because they're trying to make split-second decisions over what happened with bath beads moving at 200 miles an hour, right? And everyone's-
hundreds of them.
Totally. And these guys are all, you know, everybody's trying to do everything they can to stay alive, I think is the nicest way to say that.
That's a very well said way of nicely putting it.
Yeah, all of them, right? And they're all, so like the refs, so they're trying to make split-second decisions. Sometimes, though, I think they need to take just like we do on the field, take a breath, talk about it, get it right.
All Houston Heat so far with 8:37 to go, and the beatings are going to continue off the break here as another body comes off. They do trade, though. Oh, Jesus. Fedorov just jumped over Snake 1 to get into Snake 2. Haven't seen that yet here at this event. Another body coming off of the MLKings. So it's a 4-on-3 situation in favor of Heat, now 4-on-2 as D1 drops for the MLKings. Yeah, so anytime you see bodies come off this quick, that's when the count can get messed up a little bit. MLKings going to filter out one of their last bodies to the back corner bunker here on the Snake side, and also have D1 as well. So defensible. Oh, that body got good zone control here from Heat. So it's just 1 player alive. Probably see another concession, I'm guessing. Yeah, there it goes. Man, Houston Heat just running up the score. They look real good this morning.
Really good.
Next game for Houston Heat, and this is going to be a fun one to watch because it's Aftershock, and Aftershock's been dominant. They put up 7 points against Notorious, won by 3. Then they go and they play the MLKings and win that one by 2. And then in a game we thought was going to be closely contested against Tampa Bay Damage, they shut Damage out. 4-0 was the score.
I watched that one. They look really good.
Yeah.
And, like, played with the right tempo at the right time.
And in different facets of the game. Sometimes teams are doing one thing or 2 things particularly well and struggling with a couple other things but still getting wins. They're doing everything well.
Yeah.
They're getting penetration outside. They're playing aggressive. They're shooting bodies on the break. They're calm and composed while on the attack. Closing clean. They're doing a lot of things right.
And they had, you know, Brian, they pick up a rookie, right? Brian comes in, plays that first point this morning, steals it because they're losing the Dorito side. Ryan comes down the snake, wins a point. So, you know, even when you're playing really controlled, sometimes you need a hero, right?
Oh,
You got to have somebody step up and win a game
Yeah,
every now and again.
Hosky looked really good in that one, and that's good because the scouting report on Shock is nothing but studs on that team, except for up and coming potential stars. But who's going to be their go-to snake guy? You know, they take Clay Hughes from the Ironman, but he was having some rough practices. They pick up Hosky. Hosky made some mistakes in that Legion game deep into Sunday, but those are the types of mistakes that you learn from.
Totally.
They go back with Hosky again, and he was much better in these first 3 games. He's still playing aggressive, but he's starting to fine-tune his aggression game.
And what's great is he's making mistakes, and I think I said this yesterday, he's making mistakes that young players are supposed to make, right? He's taking those risks that sometimes you're going to get an 8 result, sometimes you're going to get a 4.
Yeah.
Right? But you expect that out of a young player, and you kind of want it.
Yeah. So head on over to GoSports.com to watch the rest of the best players and teams in the world play here on Major League Paintball in Atlantic City. And thank you guys so much for joining us to watch professional paintball. And
So New York Xtreme breaking out with 4, so that penalty must have been a minor on the last player alive there that was in the corner.
Yeah, body dropping again here early for New York Xtreme. This time it's Jerry Carl, one of their big killers. Dynasty going to filter a body out D side. Blake's still alive and hunting up the middle. Not feeling any pressure. He's going to go to the wedge. 5-on-3 again here for Dynasty. Just need 2 more points for the Mercy Rule win. Really help their chances to make Sunday. Dynasty did miss Sunday at the second event in Texas. And another body coming off here for the MLKings. Yeah, Dynasty is just in full control. I mean, it helps when you're playing up bodies every single point.
Yeah, and all those bodies you're seeing get peeled off of this side, that's Blake Yarborough. I mean, he's up on that Dorito side, playing in space that we're not seeing a lot of teams play. I really like that channel over there. And then I also like Blake in that spot.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a treacherous section of the field when the bodies are high, but when you do drop a couple, 1 or 2 off the break every single point, he's a fearless player. Blake's never scared to attack, and he's just reading and reacting really well to the existing remaining players in front of him, his opponents, choosing the right routes, putting it together. Yeah, I like that area over there too. I think that could be a big component of whoever wins this tournament.
Yeah, agreed. You know, now that people are starting to figure out all the bounce shots that go into that first and second Dorito, those are going to get rough.
Yeah.
Rough.
Yeah, we talked a little bit yesterday when we had you up here, as there's running the clock off right now, about how, do you like blind layouts? Do you not like them? You said you could go either way. I'm a big fan of blind layouts because as a fan, I get to watch these top level, the best teams and players in the world figure it out on the fly.
Yeah, you're getting to see their development process.
Which, if you're a paintball player yourself, you're down in the divisions and you're watching the best teams, you get to learn from that. And it's entertaining to me too, because you see teams, all-stars make mistakes they don't normally make when they have 90 points on the layout.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden they're making a couple mistakes, maybe a couple mistakes in a row. So, when you let an intelligent, high IQ superstar who's been winning tournaments for 15 years and you give them multiple days on a layout, they're going to figure a lot out. It's already going to be dialed by the time that we get to this tournament. Whereas in a blind layout, it's still a bit of a puzzle first day.
Well,
second day, things get figured out a little bit more, but it's still a work in progress.
Well, and we talked a little bit about experience, right? And whether or not that's kind of an advantage for the blind layout. If you look at Impact, they're kind of proof of it really being a real thing, that having those experienced guys, a coach like Dave Baines, who's used to walking tons of paintball fields, being able to put game plans together on the fly, they look great.
Yeah.
And they look great from the get.
Well, and they looked good immediately. Had a great game against New York Xtreme, and then had a battle against Dynasty. But they were just figuring it out a little faster than their opponents. Yeah. Even in that game against Dynasty, it was also starting to figure it out too. That was a 1-point loss for Dynasty, 1-point win for Impact. Then we go to the Ironman match, and I talked to Henry Sense and Zach Geiger from the Ironman, and they were brutally honest. They were like, "Yeah, man, we just had a rough go of it. We weren't figuring things out fast enough. Causing small mistakes, kind of being behind the action, reacting instead of acting."
They just didn't play aggressive at all, right? Like they they played a little bit like they did on Thursday on a layout that they really know all the shots. You know, when you come out on this layout, not having played 90 points, you got to take some risk, and which is shocking, right? Because Shane is a risk guy.
Totally, and he's got the players that like to take risks on that team. But in that Impact match, I mean, Impact completely dismantled the Ironman with the Mercy Rule win, 7-1. And you just saw Impact figuring out these angles. They started murdering people on the break. They were calm and methodical, but aggressive on the attack. And, I mean, there's nothing but all-stars on Impact. You don't get the call from Dave Baines in the offseason to come play for Impact unless you were a star on the other whatever team you played on.
Right.
And with the one exception of Tyler Panilio, who's been a hometown project for Dave Baines for a couple seasons. But even Tyler, like, I played a 10-man with Cap Factory a couple years ago, and I was talking to Dave about it. And I'm like, well, who we got on the squad? And he's like, we're naming off all these legends. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a fun one. And he's like, and we got Tyler, this young kid coming up. Dude, Tyler Panilio, he's a speed demon. He's aggressive. You're going to love him. He's super fun. I was like, and sure enough, he was great in the woods, too. I think he was 17 or 18 at the time.
I know what you were really thinking is awesome. I don't have to go far.
For sure. Well,
Yeah, because everybody else you named on the list, those guys like hip problem, knee problem,
Yeah.
shoulder problem, arthritis.
Well, I told the guys, I was like, look, I'm stoked to be playing here. Two things I'm not doing. I'm not going to any far bunker, and I really don't want to have to run a flag back. And then the very first game that I play, we had a battle. I can't remember who we were playing in this crazy thick field. And it was just me and Trevor Reeser as the last two bodies alive going into this like forest. We didn't know where the guy was. And then sure enough, so I go in, I shoot the last body, and then I thought it was just me. I grab the flag, I turn around, Trevor runs up out of the woods, out of the thicket, and I was like, here you go, young man.
Yeah. Yeah. Run this back.
Yeah, so still, they're just grinding this clock down. I wish we had an actual, we're just going to concede the game situation. So,
Yeah.
like, hey, we've given up. We've completely given up. We're just going to run this clock down, just so Dynasty doesn't have to sit out in the sun. And, I mean, we can turn this show into a podcast, And speaking of podcasts, talk to me a little bit about the coaches show here, Ryan.
You know, one, it's been just incredibly fun. You know, I get to hang out with my friend Mike Bianca every Tuesday for a couple of hours. And, you know, after the show is over, we still hang out for like an hour and talk while I'm uploading stuff. And so number one for me, that's like the best, right? And when the conception of the show in the beginning was going to be more kind of like news driven and those kind of things. As it's evolved, we've realized like, man, we can't do as much in post-production as we want. The guy who was doing our post, Jake Jones, who did a fantastic job for us, but he took another job. I don't know how to do any of that kind of stuff, right? Like, I'm a knucklehead. So we focus more on the analytical side of trying to break games down, have coaches in, and then also on the other side of that, provide resources to coaches. So this event post is going to be awesome. Like the next few Tuesdays, we're going to have so much to talk about because number one, we've had some great games. But then number two, we have two finals games to completely break down. And the one that happened Thursday, I cannot, like, I've watched it now twice. I cannot wait to break that game down.
Yeah, that was a really fun finals match. Came down to overtime. Red Legion taking down X Factor. A couple penalties in that one that kind of crushed X Factor. But it looks like the point was finally conceded. So after a little bit of a break, Houston Heat going to come out, try to finish off this Mercy Rule win here, shut out the MLKings, which will officially knock the MLKings. Well, yeah, with this spread, this will probably knock the MLKings out.
Should. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they went, they were able to put this one up. Yeah, this is going to do it for the MLKings.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can check out the Coaches Show on Major League Paintball's YouTube. You can also see it on our Facebook, which is the Coaches Show Live. You can catch us on Instagram at thecoachesshow.live.
So good break this time for the MLKings. I think they just shot a body, but yeah, they have 5 bodies alive. You got a body up in the middle. They get a body out here, Snake side into Snake 1, filtering out into the Aztec as well too. Yeah, Houston Heat with 4, but a massive lead. Still 7-12 left in this one.
I mean, when you shoot a guy or two off the break, those are going to be fast.
Yeah.
Right? Even if you do nothing, they're going to be fast.
Yeah. So Houston Heat probably just going to tuck into some decent spots and wait for MLKings to attack. They'll take something if it's given to them. If they're feeling no pressure, can make a move up, but it's really not. I mean, Houston Heat with this, as long as they can keep this margin high, they do have to play Shock next, but even if they drop that game to Shock with this +5, Should be sitting pretty. The tough thing when you're 2-2 is you just don't want to be in the wild card.
And you're gonna be.
Yeah.
You're gonna be.
Yeah.
You know. You're gonna be. Because even if you're 2-2 and you potentially are second in your pool, if you're 7-8 spot, you're playing in that wild card round. So.
Yeah, I think it was World Cup though a few years ago, where Houston Heat actually came out of the wild card to take the victory.
Oh, the 9-10 spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. There's something about playing that first game too on Sunday. Get you a little bit of tempo and rhythm. You know, especially for the slightly younger teams. I think for the older teams, they probably don't want to play it just to protect bodies, those kind of things. But every coach seems to have an opinion about which one's better.
Well, also, if you're a team contending for a series title and you do lose a wild card game, it kind of wrecks the, doesn't wreck it, but depending on what happens with everyone else. So yeah, battle's still going down on here. Time ticking off the clock.
Yeah, we kind of saw that last year, not necessarily with a wild card game, but with, you know, Tampa Bay Damage, you know, getting knocked out first round at World Cup, kind of took all the parity opportunity out of, you know, having a different series winner. Dynasty pretty well had it locked up as soon as that happened.
Yeah, this year it's Legion. Legion.
They are 60 points ahead.
I was going to say, they got a pretty decent gap. Body coming off for Houston Heat. I just went and checked my notes. So it was 2018 when Houston Heat came out of the wild card. Ryan Moorhead, MVP in that one. So now just 2 bodies, 2-on-3 situation here in favor of the MLKings.
You know what I love about what you just said too is Ryan could be an MVP here. Like he's so good.
Well, we were talking about how proficient we think that zone is that Blake's been charging through, getting kills and launching to close points. That's the same area where Ryan plays.
Yeah.
So, you know, depending on what happens, we still got a lot of paintball to play, but yeah, could be Ryan Moorhead. I mean, we heavily weight what happens on Sunday, and the deeper on Sunday we go for those MVP awards. Looks like here comes the counterpunch from the MLKings after Houston Heat got Dizon out wide. So Dizon eats him up, though. But here comes MLKings all the way on to Houston Heat side. Oh, I think he got the shot in on Mishka.
Yep, he did.
Did he trade out, though? Turned it into a one-on-one. Oh, and Dizon gets the coast-to-coast shot. So Ronnie Dizon steps up here to put the 6-point on the board for Houston Heat. Perfect game for them. Got a little interesting, but low body win. And that's also a good one, too, heading into the next game.
Absolutely.
Because, yeah, you handled this match, really faced almost no adversity, really.
And the Kings are good.
Yeah, and the Kings are good. But until that last point, right? And then all of a sudden now we have to win a low body situation. Dizon steps up, and that's just good for momentum. And, yeah, Houston Heat looking about as good as it's going to get there.
And I kind of said that yesterday, too, after our first match. You know, we go up to on Aftermath. Let them come back there, score 2 points, tie it up, and then go into overtime, have a really fun, grindy overtime point where, you know, Coda Mikowski plays the hero, comes down, hits the buzzer with 8 seconds left on the clock. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm cool if they would have started that process about a minute earlier because I was having a heart attack in the pit. But that was good for us. That's good for my group to have those really gritty, grindy, put it together, you know, games going into the next one. Josh Taylor again, being shot off the break.
Yeah, it's just a similar story for New York Xtreme. Most of these matches, it's just tough on the survivability metric here for them. We do get Cantor, so there's only 24 seconds left, so Dynasty probably not going to put this 6-point on the board, but still, it was mostly just all San Diego Dynasty here in this one. Yeah, 4-on-4 situation. Yeah, this is going to be the final score. 7 seconds to go here in regulation. So 2 blowouts in this set.
Yeah, this wasn't as fun as yesterday.
No. Sorry, Ryan. Thought, yeah, maybe we had so many close games. We had 7 overtime matches yesterday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Dynasty going to blow out New York Xtreme. Same with Houston Heat and the MLKings. So Dynasty now 2-1. Houston Heat now 2-1. And next up is going to be Tampa Bay Damage taking on Notorious. Notorious is going to be out as they've dropped 3. Tampa Bay dropped their game to Shock, and it did not look good. So they definitely need to win this one. And then Edmonton Impact looking amazing against the Ironman. They're going to be playing Infamous.
Who also looks pretty good.
Yeah, Infamous won against New York Extreme.
They kind of flip-flop, right? They had one yesterday. I was like, what happened? You know, the first one they played looked great.
Yep.
Second one looked a little rough. This morning looked great again.
Yeah, so we'll see. Now they're playing Impact, and
Right.
Impact looks really dialed. So stage is set here for this next one. Damage, Notorious, Impact, and Infamous. Ryan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Best of luck. 2024 Mid-Atlantic Major League Paintball here in Atlantic City. And Matty Marshall here. Thank you guys so much for joining us on Go Sports. See you in just a few.